Hi friends, welcome to a new edition of my favorite video to film, which is reading new fantasy releases. So I try to do this every month, sometimes it's every other month, but this is going to be the fourth installation that we've done this year. And some of this year has been a little rough, if we're being honest. Some of these books have been disappointing, and we have had quite a few DNFs in this series. So, to kind of bring it around, to try and get the energy back up, to try and really reinvigorate my love of fantasy romance, this edition is going to be entirely sequels. So I have 5 sequels that came out, I think all of them within the last month or two, and they are all books that I really enjoyed. The first one, some of them, I think there's 2 that are significantly later in the series, but they are all series continuations. And I want to go into this with the best possible energy, the best possible, let's have some good rated books. Let's come out of this one without a DNF, maybe a 5-star. I have a feeling we might have one, maybe 2, maybe we'll be crazy, but I'm hoping for mostly 4 stars at least. And what books are we going to be reading? So there is Throne of Honor and Blood by J. Bree. This is books 2 in her newest series. Book 2 was Crown of Oaths and Curses. It's this intense enemies to lovers romance between a witch and a fae who are fated mates but also mortal enemies. Zodiac Academy 9, so this is the last book in the series. Very happy about it. To be honest, this series is it's kind of lost it for me, but I'm really excited to finish it off. The Everqueen, book 1, The Ever King, was this pirate, fae enemies to lovers, captive romance that I really enjoyed. Midnight of Ashes by Tessa Hale is a, why choose dragon shifter romance. Really fun. And Not Your Crush's Cauldrons by April Asher is the 3rd book in a series of 3 sisters, their romance within this paranormal world. And so we're following the 3rd sister. She's a really bookish girl, her and a guardian angel. So those are the 5 books we're going to be reading. All of them are series that I've enjoyed before. I'll talk more about the first books as we're reading these books, but this is primarily more of series at a glance and just kind of forcing myself to continue on with series and see if I actually think it's worth it to keep going on these series. So welcome to the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and let's dive into what I'm sure is going to be super fun. All right, so I decided to start with Not Your Crush's Cauldrons. And first, let's talk about this series as a whole. So this is book 3. I think of 3, there might be another one following a friend, but it is a supernatural, kind of rom-com series where we are following triplets and they're witches. So far, each book has been following one of the sisters. The first one was this witch who presumably didn't have power, her and the alpha of a wolf, some kind of shifters pack. And they were very much friends / lovers when they were younger. Something happened, they broke up, and then this is their second chance. And there's them. So that was book 1. Book 2 was the next sister and a half demon veterinarian, and she becomes kind of a hunter in this world. And now this one, book 3, we're following 3rd sister. Wow. She moves in with one of their friends who is a guardian angel, which is such a random thing to include, that there's guardian angels in this magical world. But they've been friends for years, and he offers her his spare bedroom because she needs a new place to live. And we find out that he has had a major crush on her for years, and offering the spare bedroom was kind of his way of having her close by, because he's hoping that if she is close by, it will kind of help him get over this crush that he had. But yeah, that's not gonna happen. And so she is a professor. She's the nerdy bookish sister, and she's a professor who every year challenges part of her course that she does with students is they're supposed to create this list of things that they find scary or personally challenging. And that is part of the work that they do throughout the semester, is that they have this list and they are supposed to challenge themselves for self-discovery. So she decides to create her own list and kind of challenge herself to do a bunch of things she normally would never go for, and really get outside her comfort zone, because she feels that she has become the predictable sister. And at the same time, while she is starting this off, the guardian angel Bax is given his next assignment, which is to be her guardian angel, because something has popped up saying that she's in danger. Presumably it's about this list, that she's going to be doing so many crazy things that they want somebody to keep an eye on her. And he decides to, follow along, help her out with this list, and do all the activities with her to keep her safe. But she cannot know that he is the one who's assigned to her, because that is a major no-no. If she knows about it, he could lose his job. Also, he's not allowed. They made it very, very clear that one of the rules is they are not allowed to fall in love with the person they're guarding. So like naturally we know that this is where the story is going to go. We know that it's going to be like he's going to fall in love, he's going to lose his job or like rethink his life, whatever. And so far it's fine. I think in this series the first book was the one that I really enjoyed, and then the second one definitely tapered off a little, and I'm hoping that this one doesn't like go downhill more. I think that just the world building didn't end up living like up to the hopes that I had for this entire series, but I am hopeful. I think that it could be a good like them falling for each other, kind of getting out of their comfort zones, like realizing who they want to be. We're hoping anyway. Okay, we are done. First book of the video, which again was Not Your Crush's Cauldrons. And this one, very, very mid-level. So it's gonna be a solid 3-star. It's not really anything spectacular, not really anything that like overly interesting, I guess. But yeah, it was just a very solid 3-star in that there was like nothing wrong, nothing really right. So we're following two roommates who seemingly backs the guardian angel person. He has had a crush on Olive, who's our female main character, for years, and his solution to try and deal with this crush, because he didn't, for some reason, was like, I can never act on it, my job's too busy, I don't want to do this, was to have her move into his apartment. So he thought that her living in his apartment would, you know, satisfy this closeness, but also like he would never feel tempted or something. Like the logic was weird. But after she moves in, he gets like an assignment through his guardian angel thing to protect her, because she's doing this like crazy list of putting herself like out there, like really challenging things that she doesn't like to do. So she's a professor and she teaches this course. I'm not sure what the course is, but part of it is she challenges her students every year to create a list of things that are outside their comfort zone and to achieve them. First of all, like I'm really confused about like what type of college course this is, what type of like program, what type of like, I don't know. This does not seem like any type of college course I ever took. It just seems like such a weird concept to have people do for a project, is just like make a list of things that you feel uncomfortable and then do them. That just, it feels very like non-academic and very weird. But anyways, so her students do this every year, and after she overhears a few people saying that she's like the most boring person alive, that she's like the most predictable whatever, she decides to make her own list and compete in it and like try to complete it throughout the time. And yeah, that is our story. Bax decides to join along because he thinks her life is at risk if she's doing these things, and there you go, that's the book. And naturally along the way they start sleeping with each other because romance. It was fine. I think it was just like a little convoluted, some of the things that happened, and the romance itself wasn't really that overly interesting, if that makes sense. Like I didn't really feel anything for them as a couple, didn't really feel any rooting towards them, any really feelings towards them in any way, I guess. So it was fine, 3-star. I definitely think if you're gonna read this series, the first book is like really the only one that you need to read, which is just like Witch with No Powers and a Shifter Alpha. That one was good. The rest of them have been kind of bland. So I don't know if this is the last book in the series. It's either the last book or there might be one more following one of their friends, but in my mind I'm gonna say it's done. I don't really feel like continuing on with it. I don't really feel like I will be adding anything to my life if I read another one, unless it's like getting crazy reviews, which I don't think so. Haven't really heard that many people talk about this series in general. But yeah, first one was okay. The rest of them kind of boring. And yeah, we have one book down. Unfortunately, in this case, reading a sequel did not really pan out to a better reading experience. We still have 4 books to try though. To be honest though, I'm a little worried about some of them, but we're gonna dive into the next book, which I think I'm gonna pick up The Everqueen next. Okay, so I've now actually finished our next book, which again, so this one very, very short, very quick, very like action-packed, and kind of like not really one that I wanted to like stop reading and talk about, because I did read this in one sitting, and that is Midnight of Ashes by Tessa Hale. Hello, Simon.
Read books, yes, but no.
So like I was saying, this is the book 2 in a Why Choose Dragon Shifter romance series. So in this one, we're following a young girl who goes to this college campus. She's an orphan. She's been raised in foster care. And when she gets there, she kind of gets brought into this like den, I guess, of like dragon shifters who they all form like a mate bond with her. So it's her and I think, is it 4 guys or 5 guys, something like that. They kind of just all meld together in this series. Unfortunately, like they're not really that distinguished as people. But this is the second book. The first one was really her meeting all of the men and kind of realizing what she is, realizing what they are, and just kind of like realizing that she is also a dragon shifter, I guess, and like all this stuff. This second one is much more her like learning about the world, her getting to know all of the guys, starting to form like romantic relationships with all of them, and then really being kind of like tested on if she actually wants to be with them or if she wants to like find, you know, another group to mate with instead of this one, because apparently they're not like her fated mate. They're kind of like, you can decide which group. I don't know, like it's the world building itself is not really that fleshed out. It's not the most like evolved or really like explained, but I think that this series is incredibly fun, and that's really where I'm going into this thinking, is that it's super fun. If you go into it kind of like, I guess, not really expecting like this really well like insane like life-changing book, you're going to enjoy it. It's just one that I feel like has like this perfect blend of like enough like tension, there's a lot of action, some kind of thrilling aspects, the love is good, the smut is good, like just there's enough of all of these exciting things that are kind of just keeping me addicted, and I'm really enjoying this. So there's 2 books out. The third one's coming out I think in November, which like I do not want to wait that long for. I would love to be able to just like binge all of these right now, because they just, every one of them too, and ends on like the biggest cliffhanger ever, and like it's, the author is doing a really good job of just making me want to keep reading. So this one's gonna be 4 stars. It's just genuinely so fun, and that's really the thing that like I think is missing in a lot of these fantasy romances that I read, is this is genuinely fun. And sometimes I want that, sometimes I just want like something kind of silly where you're not really going into it like having to think that hard, you're not really going into it like having this explosive intense plot. It's just fun, and you're along for the ride, you're really enjoying every aspect of it, and I think that this series is so perfect for that. So yeah, 4 stars. Really enjoyed this one, and just like overall deeply enjoying this series. So I decided to start next with The Ever Queen, and this is the second book in a series. It's like a pirate kind of fae kind of romance, and I really enjoyed the first, where we're following these 2 people who are like this king who kidnaps a princess and then brings her into his fae realm, and they fall in love, and it's very much like a pirate inspired kind of world, and I really thought it was good. But this is one that I feel like the more time that's gone on since I've read it, the more that I'm kind of like questioning how much I liked it. If it was just kind of the spur in the moment, I was like, oh, this is fantastic, and then looking back, am I just kind of like, it was okay. It was okay at the most. Like I think that this is one that I definitely gave it a higher rating in the moment than it probably should have. So I think I gave it a 4 star, and it's probably much more of a 3. But this is something I feel like I do quite a bit, where it's just in the spur of the moment, like when I'm done a book, I'm so excited about it, and that's all I can think about, is just that I'm so excited about what it is, and then I give it this rating. But as soon as I like reflect on it for like a few days, I'm like, it was okay, but it wasn't that special. And yeah, this very much feels like an example of that one. So in the first book, these king and queen, or the princess and this king, they get together, they fall in love, they become king and queen of this realm, and the first book ends with somebody being taken captive. So that's exactly where we're starting off on in this one, and I don't know, I'm just not feeling any of the stress of the situation, I guess. Like there's somebody who's apparently captive, and I'm not worried for her. I'm not like really like worried about the situation. I'm not particularly caring about the other characters and what they're doing, and this is always a bad sign, is that I'm going into it, I'm kind of just like not really that concerned about anything, not really that invested in any of it, and that definitely feels like the issue of the moment, is that yeah, I don't really care particularly. But we're gonna hope that it picks up, we're gonna hope that it gets to an interesting point, because I kind of feel like there's part of me that's like, I don't really know where the story's gonna go in this one. I don't really know what it could do that's interesting, because from what I'm remembering, aside from like being taken captive at the end of the book, like I don't really feel like there's too much more of a conflict that's gonna happen in this one. So that's kind of the worry, is like I don't really know where this one's gonna go. contacts to the wedding I went to yesterday, and like I'm kind of feeling like I want to keep going and wearing them a bit more this summer. Kind of liking the vibe. It's been a long time since I like consistently didn't wear glasses, but kind of liking it again. So yeah, I went to a wedding yesterday, had a great time at it, and then today we are, honestly, I'm really tired. Really tired. So I think it's just going to mostly be a reading day. I have like quite a few books actually I want to get through and like, you know, make progress on a few different videos I'm doing and all of that, but here we go. So one that I definitely want to finish is The Ever Queen, and I'm 50-ish% into it right now. So far, I don't know, like the first portion of it was really like one of the characters, like one of the main love interests was separated. So the very beginning of the story was really just them trying to find their way back to each other, trying to like solve this issue and all of that. And now I'm not really sure where the book's gonna go from here, if we're being very honest. It's like there's definitely some other conflicts, there's some other things, but that felt kind of like the biggest, most pressing issue, like the thing that really would drive the story forward. So now that this major conflict's over, I'm not really sure what's gonna happen in the book, and I kind of feel my interest waning a bit. Like I definitely can say this one is not gripping me nearly as much as the first book, which I really enjoyed. The Ever King, I thought it was a really great pirate romance, and that's kind of the, you know, the magical pirate vibes are kind of definitely what I'm into. And for some reason this one just doesn't have that magic to it. I mean, like it has magic, we're in a fate realm, it has magic, it just doesn't have that like gripping aspect. So yeah, I'm just really not into this one as much. Like something about it is just not making me that excited. I'm not really wanting to pick it back up either, which is like always a bad sign. And yeah, I'm just not feeling this one nearly as much. That being said though, let's hope that like something crazy happens and, you know, the book goes wild from here. But otherwise I'm feeling kind of bland, unfortunately. I'm done with The Ever Queen, and I do feel like this one ended up just being disappointing. It like significantly dragged in the final portions of this book and just ended up being like very long for no reason, had a lot of like pointless information, at least what I felt was pointless information, and just like a lot of like things happening just because. Like that was very much my impression of it, unfortunately. So it ended up just being kind of a letdown. Like I just don't feel like this book was quite as fun as book one, unfortunately. So yeah, overall just like a letdown for me, unfortunately. Just something that, yeah, I'm not that excited about, not really into, not something that I'm like excited to continue the series. I might, there's like a whole series that takes place before this one that like follows the parents in this world, and I might go to that one. I'm curious. It just like after this one I'm not feeling like the most confident about the author, I feel like. But yeah, it just a lot of unnecessary scenes. The characters just didn't feel as interesting. It didn't feel like there was a conflict that was necessarily like propelling the book forward. Like there was stuff happening, but it just didn't, none of it felt like it was interesting enough to care about, I guess. So unfortunately, not as good. I'm giving it a 3-star because there was parts that I did enjoy. I did enjoy seeing the characters again. Just overall, there was nothing that really like propelled it forward to anything better than that. So 3 stars, book 3 done. And I have started Zodiac Academy 9. I'm about 20% in. So this is going to be a long read. My Kindle edition is showing that it's 1100 pages. So this is one that I anticipate is going to take me like some time. I'm going to honestly be setting myself like a goal of like 150 pages a day, just in knowing that it's going to take a little bit longer to read. And I don't know if this had been addressed at one point, but, or if I've addressed it, but originally the release date for Throne of Blood and Honor was supposed to be coming out April 19th, and now it's been pushed to May 19th. So we still have a bit of time before this comes out. So in my mind, I'm like, well, I can really take my time with Zodiac Academy. There's no rush. Like I've been debating if I want to like sub out a different book to see if I can get this video up sooner, but no, like it's still, at this point, it's like only what, like a few days away. So it's not that bad. I've been like very much just slowly doing this video because knowing that this release is like pushed back quite a bit, I felt like no pressure at all to finish these books. But I'm gonna try and really, like my goal is to have Zodiac Academy done before this book comes out. So then I can like devote a few days entirely to the new Jaybri book and like really try to have that done. But initial impressions of Zodiac Academy, it's like every single other book in the series. If you like it, you're gonna like it. If you don't, don't. You're not going to. I'm kind of ambivalent about the series at this point. Honestly, it's just like I've invested so much time in it that I want to see the end. That's kind of just where I'm at right now in my mind, is that I'm 8 books in, gotta finish this 9th to know exactly what happens. But this is the final book. It is the climax to everything that has happened so far. And it is essentially a gigantic battle for the throne of this world. If you don't know about this series, we're following 2 sisters who, they're twins who were raised in the human realm, and when I think they're 19, this man comes to them and brings them to the Fae realm, because turns out they are long lost Fae. They've been in the human realm as orphans for their entire lives, but turns out they're not only long lost Fae, they are heirs to the throne. So they're the long lost princesses of this realm. Their parents were murdered, and presumably they were sent to this realm as or into the human realm for safety. And you see them as they're going through this Zodiac Academy, which is a magical school based off zodiac signs, and they have to be able to graduate this university to get their throne. And like, they're just seeing all of these, them getting accustomed to the world while also battling the 4 heirs to the council, some kind of council that basically is like at the current time running the country. The series for me has had a lot of ups and downs. It's one that like, I don't think I would say I actively like it, but I'm into it. Like, I'm really addicted to it at times. Like, I feel like it's one where when I'm reading a book, I'm not enjoying it, but when I think back to it afterwards, I'm like, oh, I want to keep going. I enjoyed that world. So it's what I have very, very mixed feelings on this series, but again, like, I need to finish it. We're so far in, there's no way I cannot finish it at this point. So yeah, I'm going to be setting myself like a page goal every day to make sure that I like have this done before the next J. book comes out, and then devote all my energy to that and get this video up like hopefully shortly after that comes out. So wish me luck. We'll see how well this goes. So I don't really feel like I have anything that exciting to say about Zodiac Academy, aside from like, I'm still plugging my way through it. I'm 600-ish pages in right now, so like, I think I should be over halfway now, 1100. But yeah, I'm just plugging my way through. I'm taking my time and just kind of reaching like a daily goal every day. And yeah, it's not super exciting. There's a lot happening, maybe too much, probably too much. A lot of characters to follow, a lot of different plot lines. A lot of them, like, it does feel like we're kind of wrapping up every single person's like romance and story and everything. And that is a lot. And like, especially the characters that you don't really care as much about, it's a lot. It can be really a lot to like read all of that. Otherwise, all good. Just, yeah, plugging along, slowly making progress. Nothing like that overly exciting to kind of report on. I'm just having mid feelings about it. I know for sure this is not going to be like a super highly rated book for me. It feels too long. This whole series feels too long, but I am very, very happily that I'm getting towards the end of it. That makes sense. We have that at least. I need to very quickly get ready to head out, but I wanted to quickly update y'all on like what's been going on with the release drama of this J. book. So oh my god, I'm getting so low on my sunscreen. That is, I mean, I guess time for a Sephora order, which I'm never upset with. So originally this book was supposed to come out in April. It has now been a month, so it was pushed back in April to May, and this is because the name of the book was changed. So I think it was originally Throne of Honor and Blood, and it turns out that this was a phrase I think used in the Nazi world. So instead it was changed to Throne of Blood and Honor. One of the two, like whatever way it ends up being like released, is the one that isn't offensive, doesn't have these Nazi connotations. But because of that, the author decided to push back the book by a month just to kind of do some final revisions of it and see if there's like, you know, make sure that there's nothing within the text that contains this language, because she doesn't want to have those connotations with the Nazis, which I completely get. But so this book was set to release on, what was it, May 19th? That has coming on, my friends. That has not happened. It was supposed to be released on Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And this did not happen. So that's fine. That's fine. Like, if things happen, I'm okay with that. Like, understandable that some things happen. But the updates that have been going on about this have been absolutely ridiculous. So apparently the only update that J. herself made was a post on like a private Facebook group. So unless you're within this group, you don't actually have any of the details. And then her team put a comment underneath another post on her Instagram. So somebody who works within her publishing team went to her most recent post and was like, hey guys, here's the update. And that has literally been it. And it is just a little ridiculous that this is what's happening with it, because, you know, there's been absolutely zero communication. And I think I speak for most people when I say like, it's not that big a deal. Things happen. It's like not the end of the world if deadlines are missed or like something happens happens that impacts the release of a book. But what's annoying is just this lack of communication and really not letting your fans have any idea what's happening. And it's also been, to date, there's been like no apologies from the team either. It's kind of just been like, well, this is what happens. This is what's happening. We'll tell you when something's more. And then also just this like, I don't know. I honestly, to be fair, I don't know any of the details of how bad the comments have been, but there's a lot of things just kind of like asking people not to stop bullying Jabri. And the only comments I'm seeing are people just asking, where's the book? Can you please give us an update? And those aren't bullying. It's just like, it's kind of weird. I like, again, to be fair, I really have not seen any of the other comments, so I don't know how like intense some of these might have gotten, but it's very much like they seem to kind of be like, just don't ask questions, just accept it will be here when it's here. Okay, I just quickly did my eyebrows. But yeah, so the issue seems to be that the file itself was late being updated to Amazon, and now it has to have like a certain amount of time for Amazon to fact check before it uploads to KU, or not fact check, but just like review the content details, make sure there's nothing like terrible that they wouldn't want on their site, I guess, and just kind of update from there. So it is coming apparently within the next like few days, but I don't know, what I find weird too is just that there has been like all of the pre-orders people had of it have been canceled. So I don't know if that includes like only Kindle copies or physical copies. Like, it's just a very, very weird release with no details, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get it. It's just, it's kind of leaving like a bad taste in my mouth, just like how weird and uncommunicative everything has been. So that's still eventually coming. I'm still making my way through Zodiac Academy. Again, like, I'm not loving it per se. It's a book I'm reading. That's kind of just how I feel about it, is that it is something that I'm reading. And yeah, like, I'm not that upset about it. Not that upset, not that into it. I'm just like slowly making my way through it. It is like 1,100 pages. So my like little bits that I'm adding in a day are definitely like making progress. It's just, it's a long book. And now I feel like I haven't really had that pressure because I don't know when this other book is releasing. So I haven't really felt like I've had a pressure to like really devote time to this, but hopefully I'll finish this within like the next day or two. And then at the same time, like, hopefully that's also when the Jabri book will be released. I'm really hoping, at least. I'm just excited. I want to get to this book. I want to end this video. I feel like this has been going on mentally for way too long. And I have like all the books ready to do my next edition of reading new fantasy romance releases. And I'm just like, I want to wrap up this project and get into the next one. So yeah, today I'm heading out for a bit, but then yeah, I'm definitely going to try to see if I can finish Zodiac Academy, see what I can do on that. And then we'll see how that goes. I don't think I'll finish it today, but I'm going to make progress for sure. And then hopefully the next time I'm coming in to check in, I actually have the Crown of Honor and Blood with me. So I am done with Zodiac Academy, and so quick, I'm giving it 3 stars. It was too long, like the series overall, too many points of view, like again, the series overall. And I felt like there was weird pacing in this one. Like, a lot of things felt very rushed. We had like a million characters and we were trying to wrap up every one of their stories and also end this war that's going on and like find a satisfying conclusion to this entire huge conflict that's been happening. So there was just like a crazy amount of things happening. It was too long. There was too much. This has been too long of a series. That is my biggest complaint. But tell me why. Tell me why the epilogues were my favorite part of this. Maybe that's not a good thing. And tell me why they actually got me like intensely emotional seeing where all the characters are, because we follow the characters and like there's like 2 years, 7 years, 18 years, like just following all of the characters in the years after the war, all of them just living their happy lives afterwards and like just these happy lives that everyone has. Tell me why that made me incredibly ridiculously emotional. So that was like my favorite part. And I don't really want to say that my favorite part is the ending, but like sometimes it feels, yeah. So I'm done that. 3 stars. Very happy to be done Zodiac Academy. I feel like, I know I've been reading this series for about 4 years, so it feels nice that it is wrapped up. And I know there's so many other books in this world. I don't know if I want to commit to them. I don't know if I'm mentally ready for that. I don't know if I have any desire, but there are a bunch of other books in this series that if I ever so felt like it, I could go there. But weirdly, this feels like such an accomplishment that I'm like, I feel like I should give myself a medal for just finishing this series. Like, yeah, I feel like I accomplished something something by reading all of these. So anyway, we're done. And I did start the next book, Throne of Blood and Honor, Throne of Honor, but I need to actually look up what the actual title is for this. I think it's Blood and Honor. Anyways, like, because one of them apparently is really not okay, but I need to figure that out. This one I think is shorter than the first book. I think the first book was around 900 pages. This one is 700, 600, 700. So it is less technically not as long as the first one, which wow. And I don't know, like, I don't know if I'm feeling just a little jaded by the entire release experience and everything that was going on there, but I'm kind of not that into it so far. I am about 200-ish pages in, and it took a little bit to kind of like reorient myself in the world, reorient myself with all the different characters. And I think, well, part of the issue is that the first book ended on a crazy battle. It ended with all of these crazy reveals, all these crazy things happening. And now we're just kind of dealing with the repercussions of that and the aftermath, trying to like rebuild some things that have been destroyed, and characters kind of recognizing themselves in a different light, or recognizing each other in a different light. And that has just kind of been the build up so far, is that we're really just seeing this, like, these reactions to what happened. So it's just not very plot heavy so far. In this book, we're following, well, in the first book, we're following two fated mates. So there's the witches and the high elves. We're following the, I guess, coven mother of one of the witch covens and the prince to the high fae. And they are fated mates, but in this world also, the witches and the high fae are basically mortal enemies. There is this evil witch who's brainwashed and brought so many of the witches over to his side, and they are basically decimating the land. So a lot of the fae thinks that every witch, no matter technically if they're aligned to this man or not, they just assume that all of them are evil and out to kill the fae. And our two characters, they are fated mates. So not only are they destined to be together, if they don't go together, they're going against the fates. And the fates have proved, like in other cases, that they will send these like indestructible monsters to decimate the land and destroy everything, as kind of a, you tried to go against your fate, so we are going to destroy everything you care about. So that is the main reason why we're following, like, why we really want to see, or why these characters are really like just trying to go along with it. They're trying to find a way to trust each other, even though they consider each other mortal enemies, and really trying to find a way to potentially bring peace to the land, because apparently part of their fate is that if they get together, their union will end this war that's going on. The first book was truly perfection. It was like the most slow burn enemies to lovers book in the world. I loved it. I loved it so much. And I have been like so excited to get the second one. So I'm so glad it's finally here. It just, once again, the plot of it was very slow, of the first one for sure. I think I kind of forgot that immediately, is that it was because it's such slow burn. It's such really like setting this intricate world, and like really like just describing everything that is happening, all of these rules of the world and stuff. Like, it is very intricate, very detailed. And there was a lot of world building in the first one. And we are once again seeing that. So that's been my like complaint. It just feels kind of slow. But like when I'm thinking back to the first book, it definitely was slow too. I think I just forgot that. Some really quick thoughts. Most of the high fae are trash. I think that they are terrible and incredibly prejudiced. Soren's uncle, who's the king regent ruling in his steed, is terrible, really terrible. And the like inheritance rules that exist for this throne, fucked. Like, so dumb. So dumb. But I'm definitely into this book, and it looks pretty nice out. So I'm gonna go sit outside in my backyard and just read for a while, but like really enjoying it, really enjoying it. And I kind of just want to sit out in the sun and read for a while, which I think I could potentially finish it tonight if I did that. Hey friends, we are coming in later in the day. I did read outside for quite a while, and yeah, kept reading all day, and I have finished the final book for this video. So Throne of Blood and Honor and Blood. I really need to, why do I not know the name? So I will start off by saying I did enjoy this one. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but did I enjoy it as much as the first one? No. It, like, for me, it felt like there was a very significant part of this book that was just like setting things up again. Like the last book, it was set up too, but it just kind of felt like more happened in it, and it felt like so much of this book just nothing happened. The relationship progression between the two main characters, it felt weird. It felt very weird. Like, it felt like they're like, we're inexplicably drawn to each other because of this mate, well, not inexplicably, it's because of this mate bond that's in their thing. So they're like, we're drawn to each other, we can't ignore this, we're just like kidding ourselves, that saying that we like aren't into it. And it kind of felt like because of that, like, it just felt like there wasn't enough relationship development in a sense, because they really like they were complete enemies. And you did kind of see this growth of like mutual like admirement, like just kind of them realizing the other's like abilities and like their value and stuff. But then I feel like it very, very quickly went from this like mutual acceptance of each other into like intense, like you are my everything. And that was kind of the jump that I felt like went a bit too quick, because I do totally get that like it's going to take a while like for them to get together because they do believe each other to be enemies. It just like it felt very, very fast to get to this point where they're like, yeah, you're my everything. And that part seemed a bit ridiculous. And also, so there was a final conflict at the end, and I am genuinely so confused about so much of what happened in that. I felt like it was terribly explained, and there was all these characters just popping up and couldn't keep track of who anyone was. There were so many random people at the end who just came in. They're all just popping in to do these little things, and it felt like a mess. It felt way too confusing. Nothing like made sense with it. And yeah, like that part was not great. But the ending of it, the very ending of this did have me like gasping out loud and like freaking out about the ending. So, you know, that was good. That was good. It did like genuinely shock me and had me like freaking the fuck out. So that's good. That's good. I'm now just very upset also that we're gonna have to wait significantly, like some significant time before the next book comes out, because I think this one is set to release in a year, but just based on the way this release went, who knows? So I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. Really did enjoy it, just didn't enjoy it as much as book 1. And there we go. We have this video done. So we have officially read 5 new fantasy releases, 5 new fantasy romance releases, and yeah, this was a decent edition. So we continued on in a few different series and finished a few, some that I'm definitely very interested to keep going in, and some that, you know, maybe I lost my interest, but I think this was a pretty successful edition of the series. So yeah, again, thank you for watching. I will have probably a new edition of this very soon because I've already started it. I got really excited and I have all of my books picked out and I've started reading them, but that one should hopefully be up in a few weeks. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and keep an eye out for some more videos, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye.